store, man. Nobody calls Han Solo a bitch.
Bring him on. I prefer a straight fight to all this sneaking around.
I don't know where you get your delusions, laser brain.
Oh, come on, bro. It's the wars.
All right, so we've had a lot of fun the last couple weeks talking about the Rise of Skywalker, but this week we're going to take a little bit of break from that. This is The Wars and More. I'm Joe, and of course with me is my good buddy Doug. Hey, Doug, how you doing this week?
Doing pretty good, Joe. How are you doing?
I can't complain. I mean, and it wouldn't help if I did, but...
Right. Yep. I understand where you're coming from with that. Yeah.
Hey, positivity.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know, what good does complaining ever do anyway?
Not a lot. Yeah.
I mean, it does do some good things, right?
Yeah, I guess you can get stuff off your chest every now and then. And then
you can get the Clone Wars to come back. You know,
oh,
I mean,
yeah, that's a thing.
That's the thing. And yeah, we got some news on that we'll get to a little later. We just know that's going to be a little long-winded. So
yeah,
we'll get some of this other stuff out of the way, and then we'll get to the Clone Wars because, yeah, we all know it's coming back. We got a new date. So
yes, we do.
Gotta love that. Like,
yeah.
Hey, it's coming back on this day, and then here's the trailer, which means it's coming a different day.
Yeah. Someone, changed their mind, I guess.
Yeah, that's entertainment these days.
Yeah.
I mean, anyone who reads, books is familiar with this. It happens more so with books than in film.
Oh, sure.
Where, hey, this is the day it's coming out, and then you get a month away from that, and it's like, maybe it'll be 2 more weeks. So,
well, I was going to say that did just happen with.
Did just happen, but with books, it's not uncommon.
Correct. Yeah, with the novelization of The Rise of Skywalker is what we're referring to.
Right.
Pushed it back 2 weeks. Yep.
So, all right, this is a interesting little thing. We're all familiar with 20th Century Fox. As Star Wars fans, this is something we are very familiar with.
Absolutely. Something that I was sad to see go.
Yeah, I mean, well, the fanfare and leading into the opening fanfare for the Star Wars saga is like seamless.
Yes.
Unbelievably seamless.
Absolutely. And something that you can just piece together in your mind and it all just, it goes together. It's like peanut butter and jelly, right? So
yeah, I mean, we've all been in the kitchen before doing something for, getting dinner ready,
I know where you're going
something like that,
yes.
and heard that from your TV in the living room and like run out there. It's like, oh, Star Wars on?
Exactly.
Oh, crap, it's Die Hard.
Yes.
Good film. But it ain't Star Wars. Let's be real here.
Yeah.
Heard someone, been on the phone with someone or this happened actually not that long ago. I was on TeamSpeak talking to some friends I was gaming with, and I heard that fanfare in the background. I was like, oh, you watching Star Wars? They're like, dude, that's the 20th Century Fox. But I was like, yeah, but
yeah.
Why else would you be listening to that?
Exactly.
I mean, you don't like Star Wars? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, what's wrong with you?
I mean, if I hear that, it's probably because I'm watching Star Wars.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, the 20th Century Fox brand is being renamed.
What?
Yes. So, Disney is rebranding. Makes sense, right? It really kind of does. I mean, Disney probably wouldn't want that, that little end portion in their Fox, right?
Okay. Huh. Interesting. So what are they going to call it?
So they're renaming the studio as just 20th Century Studios.
Huh. I'm not sure I like it. I think it. So it seems like they're wanting to keep the brand recognition of 20th century and all the stuff associated with it, but eliminate the Fox. So, okay, I guess.
I mean, yeah.
It's a business decision, right?
It's tough because we're in the 21st century now, right? Like,
yeah. That's the other thing about it. I mean, that was last century. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
I understand it's a company name, and time moves on, and you don't necessarily want to rebrand for everything, but
so I think that the name probably would have remained the same had Disney purchased all of Fox.
Yeah.
But all they purchased was 20th Century Fox. They didn't purchase, Fox Sports and Fox News and all that. So if they had purchased everything, I think 20th Century Fox would have remained intact, along with everything else. It still would have been called Fox. But since Fox Entertainment is still a company, Disney really doesn't want their product being called 20th Century Fox. And I understand that. That would be like, Microsoft buying the iPhone and still calling it an Apple, while Apple's still making, computers.
Now you're just talking crazy talk.
I'm just throwing crap out there.
I know. So I got it. Okay, I'm dating myself here, but
okay, let's throw it the other way. Apple buys Galaxy and still calls it Samsung, while Samsung's still a company.
I got
less
you.
Crazy.
Yeah, I got you. But so to date myself, I can remember this new network coming out, and it was I guess you'd call it a subsidiary of 20th Century Fox, and they just called it Fox. And this is where we were starting to see brand new shows like The Simpsons and things. And
now available on Disney Plus.
Yeah, exactly. So, but shortening the name to just Fox, I think that was their way of trying to sound trendier and hip or whatever.
Interesting question then.
Yeah.
Okay. The Simpsons.
Right. I know. I see
okay. Was the
from.
first of the shows to be kind of self-deprecating to the network that it was on.
Yep.
Okay. There are several times within The Simpsons that they refer to Fox.
Yep.
Do they change that?
Oh, I don't think so. I don't think so at all. I think they're just going to leave all the content the way it is. So it's actually going to become kind of an antiquated joke, right?
Either that or it's not self-deprecating anymore. It's just deprecating.
Yeah, exactly. You're kind of hacking on the other guy.
Thanks for giving us ammunition, guys.
Yeah. That is kind of funny. I don't know. I guess any hopes that we might have had of getting that old 20th Century Fox fanfare back in front of the Star Wars fanfare, that's gone. Obviously, if it didn't happen by now, it was going to happen, but yeah.
Well, I guess, it makes sense that they want to keep that 20th century name in there, because it's not like they purchased something new, like, Lionsgate. And it's like, we got to keep this name.
Yeah.
Because of the rich history of Lionsgate, no, I mean, you got a property here that 20th century name goes all the way back to the 30s.
Yeah.
So you've got a very long running name with a lot of weight behind it. You probably don't want to just outright get rid of it.
I guess from a business standpoint, that's the way to look at that. So long as you can keep that 20th century in there, it's gonna help people recognize the brand, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's going to be good for them to separate themselves from the other Fox networks that way. But
So you want to know the way this absolutely
No.
makes sense?
What's
So
that?
say it says 20th Century Studios instead of 20th Century Fox, right?
Yep.
Okay, so minor change, right?
Right?
But could you imagine how much everybody is going to lose their shit if 20th Century Studios with the 20th Century fanfare shows up before the next Star Wars movie?
Oh my God.
I mean,
Yeah.
that would be pretty genius.
Genius, I guess. We'll see.
I think everybody'd be happy to hear that fanfare again.
Yeah, maybe.
They couldn't care less about what it says on the screen.
It's true. It is all about the music there, isn't it?
It really is.
Yeah.
Although you wouldn't kick off with the old Star Wars fanfare either, because that's Luke Skywalker's theme, and well, we're done with that, right?
Yeah, this is true. I got a feeling that even even the days of the crawl are gone.
Yeah, but I bet. You think so?
I do. I think so because that's the old Star Wars, right? That was the Skywalker saga. They didn't do it for Solo. They didn't do it for Rogue One. I think moving forward, it's gone.
I disagree.
Hey, feel free to be wrong, man.
Well, let's entertain discussion then. I guess not.
Okay.
I feel like I'm on Twitter. You're wrong.
What makes you disagree? Oh, that was funny.
I mean, okay, just I think at the time, okay, you're doing the Skywalker saga. You're wrapping this up.
Yep.
At the time, it makes sense when you're first rolling out these spin-off films like Rogue One and Solo to not give it a crawl, so you can differentiate what's what right now. Okay, just for the casual viewer, you can differentiate what's what. I think moving forward, you'll have a period of time where you can establish now it's different. Okay, the Skywalker saga is done. They keep saying it in all the promotional material. They keep saying it, so I think the general fan is going to understand that at this point.
Yeah.
You're bookmarking it right now.
Yes.
So if you go forward and use that crawl again, you've already bookmarked the end of the last thing. I don't think the crawl has to be that difference. I think that crawl's so iconic, much like the decision to just take Fox off and keep that 20th century thing because it's so iconic.
Yeah.
I think they're going to do something similar with the crawl. It may be different. There may be just a little tweak to it, but I think you will see a form of a crawl in the future Star Wars films. It may not be the Starfield with the yellow letters, maybe something a little different.
Well, we'll have to see. Because I think they might come up with something completely different. They might have something that kind of does the same thing as the crawl. You know, kind of informs the viewer of where you're at in the story, and then they drop you right in. But I just have a feeling it's going to be something different because I think even with Rogue One and Solo, Disney wanted to differentiate. You know, this is what we're doing now, and the crawl is what was done before.
Yeah, but I don't think it was a separation of the Skywalker saga and other films. I think it was a separation of what they were working on with the trilogy and other films. They didn't want you getting confused on what was the trilogy of films that they're working on, the films that go together and the films that don't go to that.
Yeah.
So going forward, a new trilogy, that new trilogy can have a crawl all day long. It's not going to confuse anybody.
While I agree with what you're saying, I think they will probably do that sort of thing in a different way.
That's dumb.
I just have a feeling that's going to be the way it goes moving forward. Because I just think that the whole opening crawl is the Skywalker saga. And that's the way they're going to look at it. That's how that was. We're done with that now. We're moving on to something else. Because everything that was the Skywalker saga had an opening crawl. Everything else so far has not had that. But
for all the video games.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. We will see.
We will see. Yes.
In 2022.
And we'll see if that 20th Century Studios fanfare is there or not. That will be telling. Because if that's there, then you're expecting to see a crawl. So, you know, what your ears and eyes see going together and hear, that would be interesting. You know what I mean?
All right. Yeah. We'll keep our eyes open.
Right.
All right. So we've had a lot of talk about The Mandalorian.
Yes.
Well, Giancarlo Esposito had things to say about season 1.
Yeah, well, yeah, kind of. He this was he had an interview with IGN, and you know, they were talking about all of the questions left open about his character. You know, we got to see him with the Darksaber, and you know, we're all wondering, why is he want Baby Yoda, or the child, so badly? So they kind of asked him that, and his response was kind of interesting. He says, I know, like any great leader or scientist, clue, was someone who is advanced in a certain way. Yeah, you could want to be their best friend, or you could want to co-opt what is inside them to figure out how to make all of us a little better at humanity. Kind of interesting.
Yeah.
He goes on. So it's that power and control of a Moff leader who is trying to put the universe back together. But how does he know everything? How does he know everything that's going on? He's a very interesting character, and I am so honored to be a part of this production. So, co-opt what is inside them, in reference to Baby Yoda. Yeah, that's kind of strange. I mean, so what do you think that means?
I have no idea.
Well, I mean, okay, so I'm doing kind of a, you know, I'm not sitting down and doing it, but as I'm doing household chores and whatever, I'm doing kind of a rewatch of The Mandalorian. So I just saw episode 3 again, and when Mando is doing his reconnaissance for going to get Baby Yoda back, and he has the infrared view of Dr. Pershing and the client, and they're talking. He actually says, "Did you extract the substance," or whatever it was? So they're they're obviously looking for something out of Baby Yoda. I've heard it speculated that it might be, dare I say, midichlorians, or they're looking to some way through science be able to extract something from a strong Force user and be able to insert it into non-Force users to, through science, give them Force abilities. And possibly maybe engineer a new kind of stormtrooper or something. I think they're looking to rebuild the Empire at this point and trying to experiment in ways to do that.
So they're looking to sort of weaponize midichlorians.
That's the way it's
to make a geo-engineered soldier that would be, heightened strength, heightened senses, heightened.
Yeah, that's what it. I mean, it's all speculation, but it almost seems that way. What might you call something like that? Like a Sith trooper? I don't know.
I mean, well, they weren't very good.
They never got a chance, really. So, but it just seems like
you say never got a chance. I say got their asses whooped.
Well, yes, that they did. I mean,
granted, they were facing some other stormtroopers,
right?
So, but yeah, I don't know if, say a Sith stormtrooper necessarily, but I would say they were probably working on another type of trooper.
Yeah, maybe something elite.
I think the Sith trooper is just, just that. They were the ones that were recruited outside the First Order to execute the final order.
Sure. But I was just thinking, I just threw that label on there.
Right.
But clearly they're looking to get something out of Baby Yoda and through science do something with whatever it is they're extracting. So,
well, it makes a lot of sense to use a long-lived species like that.
Yeah.
Because, well, you just buy yourself a ton of time.
Yeah.
This is going to take a long time. You don't want to have to keep finding new subjects because it takes 20, 30, 40, 50 years.
But on the other hand,
you get yourself a subject that's going to be youthful for, 100 years. Well, you got yourself a good subject to use for long-term research.
Yeah. And we don't even know what they're trying to do. If they're trying to, clone a Force user to raise it in their own image, or if they're, actually going to try and use something from the Baby Yoda to put into someone else, or who knows? I got a feeling that moving forward, we're gonna kind of see what they're thinking, which,
well, I mean, I would hope so.
Well, for me, I'm kind of like, it's kind of interesting thoughts, I mean, at this point, it's kind of hard to say what they're going to do, but
yeah, I mean, the idea of especially how beaten back they are. These are remnants of the Empire, still vying for control, but just not necessarily vying for control, but trying to hold on to what they had.
Yeah, and resurrect.
So making some kind of super soldier to achieve this makes a lot of sense.
Sure.
And especially in fantasy and science fiction, trying to build a super being is not a new idea, nor a worn out idea.
Yeah. I like that. It can also, you let your mind wander a little bit. You could also see how the Mandalorians could play into that as well.
I mean, it could even be more selfish than that. Moff Gideon could just be looking for a way to make himself stronger.
This is true. Though he does seem to have more, how do we put it? Like his troopers and stuff were a lot more disciplined than what we saw the Client's troopers.
Yeah, but you also hear about how many troopers he killed in this process.
Sure.
I mean, you're going to be obedient because, yeah, if you don't obey, you're just going to die.
Yeah. I'm also referring to, like, the look of their armor and stuff. A lot of the 501st guys in there and stuff.
Yeah.
But, it's
not to mention the Death Troopers.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. He seems to have I don't know, a lot more Imperial control still, for his fractured piece of it.
But I wouldn't rule out, he served under an emperor that was very mysterious, known to have a lot of power.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's looking to get that power for himself and maybe become a new emperor.
It could be exactly that. And because for as elevated as he had to have been to become a Moff, Palpatine had all of his own secrets.
Yes.
There's a bunch of stuff that his immediate underlings had no clue about.
And something we've seen repeated amongst Imperial officers is ambition.
Yes. Yeah. It's almost like, right, you have the Sith rule of two, right? You have to, the apprentice eventually has to try and take out the master.
Yep.
It's almost like the Imperial ladder is the same way, right? You gotta, how do you get promoted to admiral of a Star Destroyer? Well,
you let the other guy screw up and Vader choke him out.
Exactly. That's kind of how it works.
But I mean, I think too of you think of characters like Tarkin.
Yep.
And now we're seeing Gideon. These very ambitious but very competent.
Yes.
And then you look at Krennic. Super ambitious, maybe a little less competent.
Yeah. But willing to step all over.
Hence the scene with Vader, careful not to choke on your ambitions.
Right.
Vader sensed that he was reaching higher maybe than he can achieve.
Yeah.
He's not a Tarkin. Maybe Gideon's a little more like a Tarkin.
Well, I'd like to think so. I'd like to see that. I got a feeling we're gonna see that. I got a feeling that, he obviously has a past with Mandalorians. He has the Darksaber.
Which still makes me want him dead.
Of course. So
I know who he took that from.
Yeah, we can make assumptions right now. We don't know for sure, but I don't know. I just think I think there's got to be something to do with I don't know. I don't know, because we got cloning. It's an option. The super soldier thing. It's an option. Just kind of interesting what they want out of this kid that can enhance someone else or become someone else. Interesting thoughts. I guess I just can't wait for season 2 to help, paint the picture.
Yeah, because, there was a lot of talk about the child being a clone itself.
Yeah.
As we talk more, I'm leaning away from that. And maybe the scientist who is wearing, Camino markings,
Yeah, Dr. Pershing. Yeah.
yeah, is not interested in this child because this child is a clone. But what a cloner can do with this, material.
Yeah.
They were able to get, maybe it's maybe it is a super rare species. Super hard to come across.
Wow. Yeah. I
and
say
they
so.
get their hands on one. Now they want to use it to, make better soldiers. Or, use it to improve one's own ability.
Yeah. I could totally see that.
This thing can live, close to 1,000 years. What can we do to make me able to live that long?
Yeah. That could be.
Yeah. Maybe it's not even the power. Maybe it's just the ability to live that long.
It could be. What do you call it?
This child could be the fountain of youth.
Yeah. Through genetic modification.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sort of thing. That could be something like a new aspect of science in Star Wars that we get a look at, which again, I think would prove to be interesting. So I like it.
Yeah. Very interesting. All right. Well, could we be seeing a Fanboys 2?
God, I hope so.
Well, I mean, if recent news is all we've got, I would say no. But it's a neat idea.
So what recent news are you talking about?
Okay, so there's been a rumor flying around for probably the past week or so.
Okay.
That they are in works of making a Fanboys 2 in which the crew will be going after the infamous Snyder Cut
Yes.
of Justice League.
I love it.
Some of the players involved in the tweets that led up to this speculation have said that this was a joke, but it's a good idea.
Ah, okay.
Particularly Adam Goldberg said it was a joke,
Oh,
but a good idea.
I see. Because, the tweet that I was looking at from Adam Goldberg says, "Well done at Screen Rant for spotting my tweet. I'm meeting with director at Kyle Newman this week to discuss Fanboys 2, and randomly, at Mr. Dan Fogler, emailed me last month telling me he wants to get the gang back together."
Right. Yeah, further down in the thread,
Aha.
he says it was a joke, but it's a
Nice.
good idea.
Okay. Well, that's a bummer.
It is a bummer.
I mean,
But while it's a bummer, the amount of attention this got
uh-huh.
is definitely the kind of attention that makes things like this happen.
Well, I love the thought. And these are the type of guys that I could see taking an idea like this and running with it, because all these guys who made Fanboys in the first place, they're all fanboys. They love Star Wars. They love all this kind of genre stuff. And I that movie led to the namesake of this show that we're recording right now. So I love it, and I'd love to see it.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. Bring it on. That's what I say. But I mean, at the same time, this is a group of jokers.
Yeah.
And hell, I could see him doing this just to test the water.
Yeah. I guess the other thing you'd have to consider is that, all of these guys are kind of busy. They all have other projects going on. So, getting things scheduled and all put together, that might be kind of a even more difficult thing to do now than it was back then. So we'll see. But here's the hoping.
Yeah. Yeah, we can always hope. I don't know if I'd like the idea of stealing the Snyder cut.
Well, now we can have them steal the JJ cut. That'd be even better.
The JJ cut.
Yeah.
Or they could go get the real Trevorrow script.
Yeah, I got a feeling that
I'm still kidding, but I don't know if the other one was real or not.
Right.
Still no confirmation, just throwing it out there.
I have a feeling that Disney would have some things to say about something like that. So they'd
have some things to say about the JJ cut.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Either one, the Trevorrow thing, JJ cut. Yeah. I don't think any of those will happen. So I think if they move forward with this, it would have to be something else.
Oh, they could go get the Lord and Miller cut.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Or how about the Rogue One we saw in the trailers?
Right. Yeah, that still cracks me up.
Or how about the Star Wars? I can keep going.
Of course.
This is what movies do. They start as one thing and they end up something better.
We hope, yeah.
I mean, realistically, how often is the first draft of anything better than the final product?
You're right. So, realistically, usually things do improve. And the people making the decisions to change things, to improve them, are usually there for a reason in the position they're in. So, I get it. And I don't know. I think it's really, when you think about it, it's a fanboy thing to want to know how things could have been. Hence the Snyder cut.
Right.
And the JJ cut. So, or Trevorrow's script. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, if we always had all those curiosities pacified, then we wouldn't have all this to talk about.
True. You speak the truth. Have something to add to the conversation? Or you just want to let us know how we're doing? Email us, show@thewarsandmore.com. That's the best place to get in on the action. But if social media is a little more to your liking, @TheWarsandMore on Twitter is always a good place to interact with us. And we're also on Facebook, facebook.com/TheWarsandMore. And of course, your portal to this and everything else, The Wars and More, is thewarsandmore.com.
Soon, the galaxy will be remade. The Jedi and the Republic will die.
I sense a plot to destroy the Jedi.
Great care we must take.
Why would anyone walk away from being a Jedi? We were trained to be keepers of the peace, not soldiers.
We clones have mixed feelings about the war. Without it, we wouldn't exist. All part of the plan. 3-year plan. Everything is about to change. Every choice made has led to this.
Like, this needed any more hype.
I know it.
But wow,
Yeah. Wow.
it got more hype.
I gotta say, I was excited for season 7 of the Clone Wars. It's something we all wanted to see, obviously. So this trailer in particular, I don't know, this one's making me think about some stuff. And I got a feeling these episodes are going to go into some deep stuff, making us think about stuff. I don't know. There's just like a lot of neat stuff in there.
I wanna say one thing. We do this thing where we play the audio from the trailers.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes listening to the audio only is, one, it puts you in the mood to talk about it.
Of course.
And two, it gives you a different perspective on it.
Oh, absolutely.
Audio only without the visuals, sometimes, you focus on things that you don't focus on when you're watching the visuals.
Right.
Like the music,
Yep.
the dialogue, like really focusing on the dialogue and music. You hear it, but when you watch a trailer, you're really focused on the visuals. And I like the perspective that audio only gives you.
Absolutely.
And I got to say, audio only wise, I think that is the best trailer we've listened to in the post Disney era of Star Wars.
Wow.
I mean, it is epic.
It is epic.
The music, the dialogue. I mean, there's so much John Williams in that, even though it's Kevin Kiner.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, there's you mentioned audio only, and not until this run through I heard something that just, it caught me a little off guard, and I was like, wow, that's odd, and it kind of makes sense. Is it played through a bit of the Force theme, right?
Mm-hmm.
Except the last note went to like a minor, and it was like, ooh. Yeah, I like that, because it's also kind of foreboding.
Yes.
And we all kind of have an idea of what's coming up with this season. So
yeah, and you listen to Darth Maul talk about everything's about to change.
Oh,
and not and the plan.
You jump right to
the meat.
yeah. So I do have a couple notes from this trailer that I did want to talk about. So that's the one I was going to say for last, but let's start with it.
Well, we don't have to start with it.
No, it's fine. It's according to the plan, or whatever he says, and it's the plan.
Yeah.
What plan? I mean, is this Sidious's plan that he's talking about? Was he privy to that plan, and then, was taken out on Naboo, and was not necessarily a concern about knowing the plan, but now here he is on Mandalore, and he's privy to the plan. Kind of interesting.
Well, I mean,
I'm only assuming that prior to this, and it's not just assuming, Savage is not showing up in any of this, which means this is post the conflict with Sidious.
Oh yeah.
When he tells Maul, I have plans for you.
Yes.
I'm not going to kill you. I still have use for you.
That's right. He does say that.
Yeah. We're about to see that use.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah. I don't want to get too crazy with that, but I guess we will.
When he says the plan, I mean, that's Sidious's plan that we saw the groundwork laid out for in episode 1, and we just saw it wrap in episode 9. It's that plan. You know, I that part right there just boggles my mind a little bit.
And it's not just Sidious's plan.
Okay, do tell.
This is the Sith grand plan. This is what was started back with Darth Bane.
Gotcha. Okay.
You know, I mean, that's not necessarily canon anymore, but why else have the rule of 2, right?
Yeah.
Other than you're going to go underground, you're going to put together this plan to where the Sith rule once again.
Yeah. When the moment's right, that we reveal ourselves, and
Sidious is completing what the Sith have been working for a millennia.
Yeah, for sure.
He is just the perfect person to finish it.
Yep.
So,
it looks to me like we're gonna get to see a little bit into the psyche of the clones.
Yeah.
You know, we have mixed feelings about this war, right? Yeah, I could see them looking at the way things are going, and it's like, hey, you know, we're nothing but cannon fodder here. But if we didn't have the war, we wouldn't exist. We wouldn't be here in the first place. It's like, wow, what a conundrum. What a thing to have weigh on your mind, you know? It's almost kind of a pretty weighty topic. And how things can be far more complicated than they look like on the surface.
Well, yeah, I mean, they've obviously, even though the clones are programmed.
Yeah.
The difference between a clone army versus a droid army, and as far as effectiveness, is the clones are going to have emotion, free will.
Yeah.
You know, a little bit of their own thought, you know?
Yeah, and
because if you don't have your own thought, you're not able to think on the fly. I mean, think of technology in the real world for us.
Yeah.
Technology is limited to how it's programmed.
Yeah. Till it takes over. Yeah.
Yeah, until Skynet.
Right, but
but we're still pre-Skynet, so
yes. But we saw glimpses of that in the clones, where they have their own individualism. You know, throughout the Clone Wars.
Right, like a human mind that can learn, adapt, you know, things like that. While machine learning is, you know, making advancements, it's still limited by algorithm.
Yes.
The human mind is truly adaptive on experience. It's not limited to a specific algorithm.
Yeah.
So, obviously, in a war where you have to adapt, get better than your enemy, the human mind versus a computer is going to be better because the computer is limited to an algorithm. Not to get too sciencey for Star Wars, but I think that was the point of the clone army versus the machines and the ability of the clones to be victorious.
Yes.
I think that was the whole idea in that premise.
Yes, absolutely.
Machines are limited, whereas the human mind can adapt.
Yes. Which we saw examples of in the Clone Wars. You know, we saw examples of their individualism. And yes, all the clones start from the same, you know, origin point, right? You know, they all when they all leave Camino, they are essentially the same person to that degree. And then once they get out into the field, they're all having different experiences. They're all, you know, doing different things, and all of that can play into and affect each one of them's personality. So,
right. And then, you know, as far as like the machines and the droids go, you know, even in episode 9, we saw an instance of this with 3PO. He was limited by his programming.
Yeah.
His programming wouldn't let him do certain things.
Yeah.
Whereas the human mind, yeah, there aren't those restrictions.
Yeah, exactly.
And then with that comes emotion. Maybe at, you know, first inception, the clones would be emotionless. They would not have feelings.
Yes.
But as they adapt.
So as they have the free will to adapt for their circumstances, they also have the free will to look at the overarching thing going on, right? This whole galactic war, and think, man, what are we doing here? Yeah, exactly. Which is great. You know,
but at the same time, without it.
Right. And I think we're going to have some interesting episodes where, you know, they don't want to be doing this. They wish they could be doing something else, but they also know if it wasn't for this, there would be no them in the first place. So that's, you know, I like it. It's going to lend it a complexity to this that, you know.
Yeah, and it's gonna it's interesting too to have the context for like Rex.
Yeah.
You know, where they're fishing for sand monsters in the desert.
Yes.
You know, later on in life.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So, we know he gets his retirement, right?
Yeah. You know, and you go from a Rex that is straight up warrior programmed, you know.
Yep.
To he's on a fishing excursion in the desert, you know, passing the time.
Exactly.
In retirement. So this is going to fill that gap for the clones as well as, you know, our main characters and Force users.
Yes.
Something that the Clone Wars, you know, you've seen a growth in Rex, Cody, you know, the other troopers as this goes along.
Yep.
Added a very human element to something that's always been kind of considered like machine because they're bred a certain way.
Yeah.
You know, the clones were made to fight. That's what they do. That was the context in the movies, right?
Yes, absolutely.
They didn't have emotion. They didn't have care for other people. Other than the, you know, respect for their commander.
Yeah.
You know, the protection of their commander was important because, you know, you got a hierarchy in that.
Yep, that's right.
But the Clone Wars as a series gave the clones a lot of humanity because they had a you know, they considered each other brothers.
Yeah.
There were, like I said, the human element.
Yeah, definitely.
Even though they're clones,
well,
they still maintain some of that.
Yes. Which, that's what was beautiful about the Clone Wars, is it allowed for a lot of focus on the clones themselves.
Right.
Whereas in the you know, episode 2 and 3, it was pretty much focus on the Jedi, and the clones were pretty much ancillary characters, you know, kind of in the background. And we really didn't get a whole lot of insight into them.
Yeah, but in the Clone Wars, you see, you know, and to expand on that, in the Clone Wars, you see characters like Anakin and Obi-Wan actually kind of leaning on these characters.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like Rex and Cody.
Yep. Yeah, totally.
You know, they didn't. Our Jedi did not look down on these characters as mere clones. They started to see them as people.
Yeah, without a doubt.
You know, living, breathing beings, deserving of respect.
Yep.
Anakin especially.
Yeah.
I guess Ahsoka even more.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a character in it. Like Ahsoka, one, facing off with Maul.
Yes.
Two, maybe getting a little more insight on her decision to walk away from the Jedi Order.
Yeah, I think we're going to see some of that. That's going to be kind of cool.
Yes. You know, a little. We've heard some later on perspective from Ahsoka.
Yep.
When it comes to that, but very little.
Yeah. All that's going to be kind of fresher on her character.
Much more fresh perspective from Ahsoka. Why she left the Order.
Yes.
You know, why that choice was made.
Which is sounding like it's less about betrayal and more about what the Jedi had become. Yes. I was a little bit afraid when we first learned kind of what the major arcs of this season was going to be, that is Ahsoka's story where she's like in the lower levels of Coruscant.
Right.
We're just going to be some kind of like, Ahsoka adventure type thing. But I do have a feeling it's going to dig a little deeper into what she was thinking at the time.
Yeah, we're seeing some of that. Why would you leave?
Yes. Which I like. That's encouraging.
Oh, yeah.
So there's some other stuff here.
Yeah, Star Wars explaining stuff. Who would have thought?
Yeah, I know. So there's some other stuff in this trailer that was just kind of interesting, right? So we had Mace saying, again, I sense a plot to destroy the Jedi. So this is obviously him saying it again.
Oh, we're close to Order 66. Is what this sounds like.
Well, so we know he says that line in Revenge of the Sith.
Yes.
And he's saying,
but in this trailer, that's followed up by Yoda saying, "Great care we must take."
Yeah.
Like verbatim.
So, I mean, this can't be overlap.
No.
Right. So
I wouldn't think so.
Right.
Let's.
There's okay.
It could be.
let me just throw this out there because this is something else that's kind of struck me. There's, we couldn't hear it because it's an image, but this image of Anakin holding his hand out to a hologram of Padme.
Mm-hmm.
And in this hologram, she's kind of like holding her belly, right? As though she knows that she's pregnant or something. But maybe, I don't know. We're going to have to see what the dialogue is there in the episode because, again,
Well, I would assume this imagery is a little out of context. Like
yes,
as far as like where it shows up in the series.
Okay. What do you mean?
Just meaning that could be earlier and the Mace dialogue later.
Okay.
Much later.
I guess what I'm saying is, Anakin doesn't find out until after he kills Dooku. And
right.
I guess what I'm looking for, right? This is kind of what I've been saying the whole time for the Clone Wars was for it to wrap up with Anakin and Obi-Wan getting the call, hey, we need you back at Coruscant. The Chancellor's been kidnapped. So, the way she's standing there and, they're kind of touching hands through a hologram kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost, I can only assume that she's saying, I've got something to tell you, but doesn't tell him. And,
that sounds about right. Because
I can't see them overlapping with Revenge of the Sith here. I don't know. That wouldn't make a lot of sense.
Like he's asking her where she wants to eat.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
I'm coming home soon. What do you want for dinner? I don't know.
Yeah.
The eternal struggle.
Yes, it is. But I just thought, again, that was an interesting image because it's kind of playing right into episode 3. And it's just a subtle little thing that, knowing what we know about episode 3, it all clicks. So, I don't know. Gotta love Dave Filoni for that. He's genius when it comes to all that little stuff.
Right. But it's interesting. That means that Mace has said this more than once.
That's the other thing I was just going to bring back up, too. He's been saying this. It's like, how many times does the guy got to say, I sense a plot to destroy the Jedi. And everyone's like, yep, we need to be careful.
Yep, yeah, we heard this. Yeah, you said it before. Yeah, whatever.
Come on. I'm sure they're not all just saying, oh, crazy Mace again. I don't know. It's kind of like right there in your face, Mace is saying it outright. I don't know. I just,
I sense a plot to destroy the Jedi. What? Say what again?
Yeah. That's what we all want to see, right? That would be beautiful. But I guess so for me, I would like to see how that dialogue goes down, because that is, it's got to be another time where he's saying that. He's said it a couple times, and if it's a sense that's that strong in Mace, you would almost think that the council would they could all say, okay, maybe we need to recall all of the Jedi back to the temple. Something like that.
Man, I'm thinking back to our conversation with Hunter.
Uh-huh.
And me saying, Yoda said this, and him saying, I think people put too much stock in what Yoda says.
Yeah, he did say that.
And I can just imagine, Master Yoda senses nothing.
Well, he said, a couple times, right? Yoda said, the Force is clouded by the dark side.
Yeah.
So.
Well, maybe Yoda was the target.
It's very possible.
He can't cloud the minds of all the Jedi.
Oh,
but if he
can
cloud the mind of the most influential of them.
Hey, he can set up a 50-year plot. I mean, he's pretty good.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, they put a lot of stock into what Yoda can sense.
Yes.
And if Palpatine can target Yoda to cloud Yoda's mind,
sure.
Mace is saying, I sense a plot to destroy the Jedi. And Yoda's like,
Yeah.
Clouded the future is.
Right. Very disturbing. We must be careful.
And everybody's like, well, I mean, Yoda don't see it. It could change.
You know what I'd say, though? If that's the case, everyone else, all the other Jedi are looking at each other going, yeah, Yoda doesn't see it, but I'm thinking, man, You other guys aren't trying hard enough. Yeah. Search your feelings.
I mean, maybe that's just it, though. They're distracted by war.
Well, that's got to be part of it. Yeah.
You know, they're all deployed.
Yeah.
Mace is back at the temple.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. If Mace is really, beating the drum on this, maybe we should recall all the Jedi back to the temple. We need to form a defensive perimeter and because they know they have a plan in episode 3. It's like, okay, Grievous is down. Time for the Chancellor to renounce his powers, emergency powers.
Okay. This may not be a popular line of thought.
Oh, lay it on me.
But if that's the case, Luke was right.
Oh.
Their vanity allowed the rise of Sidious. Allowed a Jedi, allowed the training of Darth Vader.
Yeah.
If the vanity of the Jedi was like, oh, let's ignore these signs coming from these other Jedi that are sensing something wrong, but we're ignoring it because Master Yoda is more in tune than all of us. We stick to the wise, the long-lived. That would add some validity to the statement from Luke. In their vanity, they allowed this.
Well,
I mean, it would still be not the teachings of the Jedi itself, but the dogma they allowed themselves to be drawn into.
Yeah, that is part of where I think Luke's coming from with that. So part of the vanity is, in my opinion, is we are Jedi, therefore we can act as generals in this army, and it takes someone like Ahsoka to step back and go, yeah, I don't think Jedi should be generals. In fact, in this trailer, she says it.
Yeah, keepers of the peace.
Yes.
Not soldiers.
Exactly.
Agreed. I'm just stating that it adds a lot of weight and validity to those statements from Luke. If this is the case, if someone like Mace is saying, repeatedly saying,
the problem,
I sense a plot to destroy the Jedi.
Yeah.
Like it's coming.
Yeah.
Like they're being warned.
Yes. The problem I would have with it is Luke, the angle you're coming at it from is with that statement, Luke's almost putting most of the blame on Yoda's shoulders, and
but he's not.
Everyone
it's
else's
not
belief,
Yoda's fault that
and everyone else's belief in Yoda. But when it comes to Yoda teaching him, even on Ahch-To, he's willing to accept the lesson. You know what I'm saying? There's kind of a dichotomy there that it would be a little hard
Yoda telling him failure, that's the greatest teacher.
Yeah.
Well, he's acknowledging that.
Sure.
So, I mean, it's all coming full circle right there. He's saying, look, I screwed up. I, along with all them, didn't heed the signs that were there.
Be interesting to see how this plays out. I like it.
I mean, Yoda's experience with failure might be that. He might not have too much experience with failure before that because the Sith were underground. So for the Jedi to see something formidable, like for Yoda's entire lifespan, the Sith would have been underground.
Yeah, that is true. I mean,
so Yoda wouldn't have seen anything that formidable in his entire lifespan.
And that holds true for all of the Jedi of that time.
Right.
Because Yoda's like the oldest. So
and dealing with something powerful enough to cloud the wisest of masters wouldn't be something they would be expecting.
Right.
And like I said, it would not be feasible for Sidious to cloud the minds of thousands of Jedi.
We wouldn't think so, at least.
But if he picks select Jedi to target, it could have a ripple effect.
Yeah. If Sidious had to
target
pick
the
and choose,
wisest,
yeah. If he had to pick and choose, Yoda would definitely be first on his list. For sure. But
Windu was known for being like one of the most powerful, but most powerful in like
combative,
a sense of the warrior.
Yeah.
Whereas Yoda was the wisest.
But
most in tune with the Force as far as, sensing the future so Yoda would get more respect when it comes to sensing the future.
Yeah, okay.
As opposed to a Mace Windu who he could kick someone's ass, but sensing the future is not his thing.
But here's another way to look at it. If Mace Windu is beating this drum of the plot to destroy the Jedi for longer than we knew, okay, because here he is saying it again, I would have to think that Sidious would get a clue and then would target him to cloud his perception of the Force as well.
But he needs someone to act in a way that would be able that would make it able for him to manipulate everyone else.
That's a good point.
So he needs Mace may be kind of hot-headed, so he'll let him see it.
He needs somebody to
take that step,
quote unquote, try and assassinate him. Yes. So he can go before the Senate. And
he probably already targeted Mace as that person.
Yeah.
That's the guy who's going to make that irrational decision to kill him instead of let him live.
Yeah.
So let him see it. Let him, let him fume on this for a little while, because when he gets to that moment, he's going to say, no, he's too dangerous to be left alive.
Yeah. And this is all part of the plan.
Yeah, because when he gets to that moment where he's standing over him, that clicks for him. He's been manipulating all of us.
Yeah.
But he makes an irrational decision in that moment before he can take it back to the council. So Mace was allowed to see this and allowed to beat this drum.
I love how complicated this story is. Oh, this is great.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And it was done so well. Oh my God.
And it makes a lot of sense.
It does.
That, okay, cloud Yoda's mind.
Yeah.
The other members of the council would probably be a little easier to kind of misdirect.
Yeah.
Yoda would take a lot of focus because he's good.
Yeah.
Leave one of the council open to it. Let them feel it all.
Yeah. The plot to destroy the Jedi.
Yep. And especially if he's saying this for a long time and nothing's happening.
Yeah, exactly. And even in the trailer here, Maul,
like, he would start to sound like a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, kind of. But here you have Maul corroborating it. Soon, the Jedi and the Republic will die. Amazing.
But he's saying it to Ahsoka.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Whoever he's saying it to. I mean, he's corroborating what Mace Windu's kind of alluding to. So, I don't know. Again, interweaving threads and all this complexity to the story, and it all falls into place so beautifully. Love it.
Because you think about Return of the Jedi.
Yep.
My son is with them. I felt it. Funny that I have not.
Strange that I have not. Yeah.
Strange that I have not.
Yeah.
So this manipulation's a thing.
And it goes, on for years and years. Absolutely.
So I like this line of thought.
Yeah.
And I'd love to see that materialize.
Yeah.
Because, Mace Windu, he was kind of very reactionary all through the series, especially with Anakin.
Yeah,
Couldn't trust him
exactly.
at all.
It tells him straight to his face, if what you say about the Chancellor is true, then you will have earned my trust.
Yeah, and
wow.
You know what? He even says it's dangerous to put them together. He probably senses Anakin's leanings.
Yeah,
it senses the future that Anakin could have.
Although there were points where it was obvious to everybody.
Yeah, but I think Mace is being allowed to see it.
Sure.
So as to be that voice on the council to keep pushing Anakin down.
Yeah.
That way, when Mace is the one standing over the Emperor to kill him, Anakin's already pissed at this guy.
Yeah.
So he's got one link in that chain that is that he is the catalyst of this whole thing.
So if Mace can see Anakin's future shrouded by darkness, when
Yoda looks at it and sees it clouded.
Well, when Anakin is the one telling Mace he must be left alive, the Chancellor, is Mace really going to listen to him? No, because he sees all this darkness in Anakin's future. So, yeah, it's if Anakin's future is
man, Palpatine's good.
Yeah, see, it's like, wow. Yeah. Okay. I just can't wait for this this show to come. A few weeks out. Can't wait.
Now that we're saying it, though, how have we never made this connection before?
Oh, I don't know.
Because we didn't think he was beating that drum for a while.
I guess that's
why.
true. That's true. Yeah. Seeing him say it again.
It's just like, wow, he might have been saying this over and over and over again. He is the conspiracy theorist on the Jedi Council.
Kind of, yeah.
He's the the world's gonna end. Yeah, whatever, Mace.
Yep.
I like it.
I like it too. Can't wait.
Yep. All right. If you have anything to add, you can always email us, show@thewarsandmore.com. It's the best way to get a hold of us. We're also on social media at The Wars and More on Twitter, facebook.com/thewarsandmore. You can find all that and all the ways to find the show over at thewarsandmore.com. Any final thoughts this week, Doug?
No, I think we covered it all.
All right. We will talk next week.